And welcome back. I've decided, I was thinking in the kitchen just now, I might change this to bitter film reviews instead of Ricky's film reviews, or just bitter Ricky. Oh, hang on a second. Bitter Ricky, bit of Ricky. That takes some think. I'll think about that. Right. So, okay. So the next review is Spider-Man: No Way Home. So this one had me cringing. Amazing, that, isn't it? But this one had me cringing as soon as I saw the trailer in the cinema. The part where Peter, trying to say Peter in American, but not with the accent. Peter is stood with his friends in front of Dr. Otto Octavius. And at the end of the trailer, he sort of goes, "What's your name?" "My name is Dr. Otto Octavius." "No, but seriously, what's your name?" You know, it's like, oh, God, it's one of those. You know, it makes you just think, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. Yeah, that bit wasn't funny, but the rest of it was surprisingly not bad. I didn't mind it at all. And this surprised me because I'm not generally into these sort of overcooked, as in elaborate, way too elaborate costumes and robotic outfits, visuals, the CGI being splashed around everywhere, A-listers, B-listers and C-listers. There's tech everywhere, robots. Yeah, these overcooked productions I find unbearable, to be honest, because it's just too much on the screen. I mean, you know, I don't want the action to take place in the middle of Kew Gardens, but geez, sometimes it's just too much. Spider-Man: No Way Home was basically, I mean, it was exactly the same as its previous installments, and in fact, various other sort of Marvel or DC style epics, mainly in terms of CGI and soundtrack. But yeah, I just think I think, you know, sometimes they no longer surprise you though, because although however epic what a motion picture is, yeah, they just hold no surprise. They all blend in. They blend into the same themes. They all end in the same way, sort of disappointingly. And I mean, do you remember years ago when you'd sit down in the cinema, and do you remember seeing like your first adrenaline fueled action flick? The action, like the visuals, just bursting through the screen at you, just immersed with the whole surround sound, the how it felt, you know, and not to mention the early days of sort of 3D and IMAX. I mean, back then it was just unbeatable action, convincing cinematography, deafening music, blasting out. But all that now is just standard. You go to the cinema and it's just it's not as exciting as it used to be, I suppose. So yeah, anyway, right, I'll get on with this. I won't turn this one into a moaner as well. But yeah, even the most deepest, richest CGI is just whatever. But right, Spider-Man, No Way From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home. It does deliver. It's got the whole fugitive characters on the run and undercover, mind-wiping tricks, Peter's exposure of his exposure of being Spider-Man, followed by the sort of the dread of capture and being on the run. And yeah, the potential sort of entrapment of an entire city as well. It's decent, a little bit kids, a little bit adults. So you've got a little bit of older, a little bit of younger sort of humor mixed in mainly into the dialogue. And yeah, I think it's definitely something that both generations will appreciate. It's really good to see Doctor Strange added into the mix. That sort of combined adventure and mysterious, you know, magic. It was great, actually. The theme of Peter, or the story even, becoming involved in spells and the altering of worlds and things. So that whole collision of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, it's just epic. really. I can't believe I'm banging on so positively. This really isn't my kind of film, but this is how entertaining it was, really. I will mention there was a bit at the beginning, so where I think, is it Jake Gyllenhaal's character has outed Peter in the film previous. So yeah, in the opening to Spider-Man Far From Home, I keep saying Nowhere From Home or something, I don't know. Yeah, in the opening of this, it's quite eerie. You see sort of posters up and oh well, fucking huge billboards just sort of plastered around the city, and you've got sort of Peter's like grinning face, and it's sort of sliced in half with Spider-Man and Peter. It's scary, and it really is. It's eerie because it's the whole, not only how he's like grinning in the photo, but it's the whole feeling. You know, that atmosphere of this guy is being hunted, and you're on his side at the same time. So as much as you want him to escape, you've got that side to it as well. The moment the city sort of collapses in on itself as well, just pointing this out, excellent CGI, almost Inception like, how it no words can describe it. The visuals are fucking amazing, just putting it out there. So yeah, let me see. I've got a few notes here as always. Oh, okay, right. So skip forward if you don't want to hear. Skip forward if you don't want a spoiler, basically, because there's people from previous movies coming back. So right, Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield, absolute fucking pleasure seeing them. Again, this isn't my kind of film, but having those two return, I think I actually cried in the cinema. I specifically, vividly remember my eyes. Yeah, I was crying. And it was that kind of moment where I was like, oh, look, they're all, oh, look, everyone in the cinema, look, it's back. Oh. I absolutely loved it. The adrenaline and the rush of nostalgia, the hit of those all in one. Excellent. Toby Maguire was actually he was my era, really, I suppose you could say. I remember a girl at college years and years ago lent me the first ever Spider-Man on VHS, and I remember loving it, absolutely loving it. That was when Spider-Man's origin was properly explained. You know, how it all began. Not viewers being chucked into this whole as good as it is, not viewers being just chucked into this blazing action the second the credits open. Bang, 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 bang. End. The original Spider-Man were just great. It was almost like it felt, I don't know if it was, but it's felt very low budget, or lowish budget, I suppose. It properly introduced the character, examined the whole spider bite, the scene where Peter and MJ, Kirsten Dunst, when they're visiting the lab. Yeah, the spider comes down and you see him bite him on the hand, and the subsequent sort of powers that materialized. Following that, you've got the whole journey. So Peter in his bedroom going through the change, how he's going to hide it, who he's going to tell. God, it was fascinating. I fucking loved it. I absolutely adored the original Spider-Man, and Toby Maguire was. He just embodied all of it for me. He was amazing. And he's back with Andrew Garfield, and it made me cry again. So yeah, it was splendid seeing them. So let me just see. Yeah, right, because I've written a little note here. Yeah, now it seems to be sort of bang, theme tune. Peter sort of swoops into shot on the run from somewhere or hot on the heels of someone. The action sort of bulldozing forward, as though we've forgotten, as though we've all forgotten how he's able to do what he's doing. There's none of that there's none of that geeky school kid secretly trying to conceal his powers anymore, is it? It's all sort of just, and how he was jumping between outfits like Clark Kent. Now he's just a fully established character, just jumping about and climbing walls. Right, yeah, it's just not as adventurous anymore. Yeah, so 3 Spider-Men all in one place. Epic. I will not elaborate because I'm already at 10 minutes. Zendaya, I mean, what even is her surname? I looked her up on Google earlier, and you've just got Zendaya, as if you're supposed to know who the fuck she is. Like, you know, you suddenly hit, it's like a, I don't know, like a bar of soap or a make of stationery, like Helix or something. Zendaya. Right? Who's that then? I mean, I know who she is, obviously. I've seen her in enough fucking perfume adverts. But yeah, she's so infamous. She's almost in your fuss. That's a good one. So, you know, and I mean in your face, basically. It's barely possible to even see her anymore. She's like a door in your apartment that, you know it's there. You just sort of just there. It's like Britney Spears or Pink or something. It's like it's always just always there, just in your. You just don't see it anymore. She doesn't wow me at all. She's got 1 or 2 scenes that she delivers quite an emotional performance in, but yeah, she's not my mug of PG. No, not really. And naturally, have to add, she's involved in a scaffolding fall, as they always are. When isn't, just side note, when the hell isn't there a scaffolding, and I mean specifically a scaffolding fall in these types of movies? It almost seems like New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and even some parts of Essex these days are just constantly under construction. And when like the lead character is involved in a fight or a saviour moment, it's just scaffolding everywhere. And they don't actually they don't take it anywhere else, do they? They want that fight to be sort of, you know, they want difficulty added to it by the fact that it's on scaffolding. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's just me who's noticed that, or if I've missed something in a film, that these fights have to take place on scaffolding. Do they? Well, I don't know. But yeah, certain parts of you know, the US are just constantly under scaffold. Yeah, the heroes and the enemies, they just always decide to land right on top, don't they? Right on top of an often wobbly sort of structure to talk it out. And that's when Zendaya sort of gets involved, and I think she topples off the scaffolding again. When don't they? Right. Okay, so that's my scaffolding bitch done. Right. So yeah. Let me see. Just got 1 or 2 things here. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So Spider-Man: No Way Home. It's just, well, to round up in a nutshell, it is non-stop and dazzling, basically. You've got a very very good mix of celebs in there. You've got William Dafoe. William, fuck's sake. Oh, why do people have to be called Willem? I just naturally say William. Anyone else do that? Do you do that? So Willem Dafoe is there. It comes back as Norman. Andrew Garfield and Toby Maguire, obviously. You've got Marissa Tomei. Oh God. Yeah, it's star-studded and it's high octane. It's just a constant adrenaline rush, basically. I think you'll be wowed just by the special effects and CGI. Old era sort of Spider-Man fans will adore the return of those previous characters. Action fans, you'll be glued to the screen. Actual sort of die-hard Marvel fans will probably come in their pants. And non-Marvel action fans will probably be bored shitless. So there you are. I mean, it's not for everyone, and there's guaranteed to be someone out there who sticks it on as like, just dinner at your, as in, distracted by texting and stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you usually wave off this type of film, all young cast, yet another installment of a glossy superhero thing, dropping sarcastic, the cast dropping sarcastic one-liners, trying to be as funny as possible, you're better off sticking Enchanted on or something. I don't know. I think my main thing is, with films like this, I need to be quick because the sprouts are going to oversteam otherwise. So every single one of these films are always exactly the same. The guy gets the girl. The girl isn't sure, but does it anyway. You've got the token high school friend or co-worker who's cuddly but curious and comes in handy when needed. There's always a backstory involving total loss and tragedy and pain. There's a crippling decision to be made of whether the hero, leaves his normal life behind or not, that kind of thing. The scaffolding, obviously, and that one golden only element used in practically every single Marvel, DC, and all other makes of action film. The enemy and the hero fight to the death. All is lost. Literally, it's over. It's physically the end of the world. The hero is just about dead. The actual earth at points splits open. So it's like apocalypse, end of the world. It is over. And then someone from somewhere suddenly pounces in, saves the day, and everything is rosy, hunky-dory again. Obviously, there's loss along the way. But do you know what I mean? That element in these types of films really bores me. Because just when you think, and it would be good, if there was a point where it's physically the end of the world, in comes someone, wraps it all up, papers it all over, sorts it out. The enemy gets defeated. The hero is celebrated. It's just one of them, isn't it? Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know. It's hands outstretched. Suddenly, just sprang to mind. Again, I think it's the whole. My favourite, the scaffolding. I think it's the whole. That thing as well, where the hero has to save everybody. So, the girl falling from the scaffolding, hands outstretched, will they manage, will he manage to take her hand and pull her to safety? Obviously he does. That kind of thing. I genuinely have not seen one film in any of these franchises where the realistic would actually take place. I mean, yes, it's sci-fi, but just for once, a dash of sort of non-pretentious shite wouldn't go amiss. I think the only film in which it literally all ends is one of the Ant-Man films. I think it's the end of one of the Ant-Mans where the blip happens and everybody starts evaporating. Which one is it? Now, I swear to God, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can't be sure. But the blip happens. And everybody starts, from what I remember, the film actually ends with everybody just evaporating, turning into specks of dust, rather like the specks of fucking dust that are flying around here. And yeah, that was brilliant because, obviously there came a follow-up film where, or another installment of a different film, but it sort of wrapped it up, so even though everybody was started evaporating, bang, end of the world. Wow, from me. There was another film where everybody started evaporating back. If that makes sense. So they started. It's God, they just can't do it, can they? They can't do it. That's all I'm missing in a film like this. Anyway, right, I'm wrapping up because I'm at 20 minutes. So, Spider-Man, No Way Home. yeah, thumbs up from me in terms of cinematography and spectacular CGIs. From a simple car explosion to a massive sort of bridge snapping in half. The Dr. Octavius character. You've got the various characters sort of darting about all over the place and trying to save each other and save certain things. There's aspects to the story that, especially with Aunt May's character, that sort of draw you in terms of like the backstory and the emotion. It's decent and eerie. Don't forget that. It's eerie. Where his poster, I don't know why that stands out for me. You get those little moments in a film where you're like, yeah, it's just that. I don't know why. It's Peter's. I'm gonna have to watch a trailer again in a second, but it's Peter's face. He's like smiling, I think, like grinning, and then you've got half spider, half Peter. It's really weird. And on a final note, of course, the scaffolding. You just can't go wrong with a showdown on a bit of scaffolding, can you? Right, thank you for watching. Don't think that was too garbled, but need to get on to the next one.